Hey everybody, welcome to the Pro Show. I'm Tyler, and today we're going to talk about how Taiwan managed to be the best country in the world during this global outbreak. So there's several reasons why Taiwan was so successful. We're going to get into each of them. But there's one especially important element that we're going to get to at the very end. The first reason why Taiwan was so successful is because they acted early and fast. Once Taiwan was starting to get some information that there was a SARS-like outbreak in Wuhan, China, there was an immediate reflection from the officials here in Taiwan, and they began to implement health monitoring of those people coming in. And this was at the end of December, early January of 2020, before almost any other country in the world was beginning to manage this problem. Later on, Taiwan blocked travel from China to make sure that nobody could get in and start to spread this problem. So this was an immediate action that Taiwan took that was apparently very successful. The second reason that Taiwan was so successful is because they nationalized the distribution and production of masks. So early on, there was a run on masks. Everybody was trying to buy masks here and you couldn't find them almost anywhere. Later on, the Taiwanese government was able to implement a rationing system so that everybody could be guaranteed to get a certain number of masks on any given week. So you could have at least perhaps 5 masks every single week. Later on, they ramped up production so high that they were making tens of millions of masks every single day. And nowadays, while they still have rationed masks that are cheaper, and you can go to a pharmacy and get your distribution using the Universal Healthcare card, you can now buy them in stores as well, the excess masks. So you have your ration and you also have excess masks that you can buy at the store. The third reason why Taiwan was so successful is because it was requiring a 14-day quarantine for everybody that was coming in to the country. So if you come into Taiwan, it doesn't matter whether you're Taiwanese or whether you're a foreign resident. If you're flying in after February, you were required to have a 14-day quarantine. And so they were very strict with this, with very large fines. And there were some folks who broke the fine, broke this quarantine early on and were caught. It was a huge news story, and now you don't even hear about people breaking the quarantine anymore because we know the seriousness and also because those folks were fined quite substantially. At the same time, Taiwan is giving subsidies if you manage to finish your quarantine without breaking the rules. So if you go through your quarantine, they'll actually give you 1,000 NT a day, about $30 US a day. So pretty good deal. The fourth reason why Taiwan was so successful is because of contact tracing. So anytime there was a potential local case in Taiwan, and remember, Taiwan hasn't had an official local case in over 200 days by this point. But when there were some scares about a potential local case, they immediately did contact tracing of everybody that they could find that might have come into contact with those individuals who might have contracted COVID-19 in the country. So they immediately tracked those folks using their cell phone data, and they determined whether or not they had contracted it. And luckily, those contact tracings have found that those scares so far have come up negative almost entirely. So thus far, the contact tracing has shown that internally within Taiwan, there's not really any local cases. The fifth reason why Taiwan is so successful is because of communication. Every time there's an imported case, so someone that's in quarantine and it turns out that they have contracted the COVID-19, they are communicating this information to everybody. So there's a high level of trust among the authorities. In fact, the health minister here is like a superstar. Everybody is very impressed with his performance so far. So because of that, the communication, there's a high level of trust. So whenever they implement new types of requirements, then people will listen to it. The sixth reason is the cooperation from society. So in Taiwan, whenever there's a requirement for these masks, because there's a high level of trust, people will just wear the masks. In fact, nowadays, there was a period of time that people didn't need to wear the mask because they felt safe enough in a lot of venues. They just didn't need to wear them. And so because there was a lack of local cases, people didn't really feel the need to wear them. However, for the most part, Taiwan has kept up requirements that on the subway or on trains, you need to wear the masks. And now on December 1st, Taiwan increased the requirements, and so a lot more venues now have the requirement to wear masks because they're afraid that during this winter period, it is more likely that we might actually see an outbreak here. So to prevent that, they've increased that the strictness of those mask requirements. But at the end of the day, it's because the society and the government worked hand in hand. There was a high level of trust and a high level of cooperation on both sides that Taiwan was so successful. So many other countries, I think, can look to Taiwan as a model for the way that they handle the outbreak, because this is probably not the only pandemic that we might see in our lifetimes. And fingers crossed it won't be as serious or severe as what we're experiencing now. But in the future, if we do have another outbreak, countries should look to Taiwan to act fast, act with a broad array of different methods, and make sure that you're getting a buy-in from society. Because listen, if you don't have cooperation from society, you can put all the rules and regulations, but if they're not actually followed, then it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So if you want to hear any more about Taiwan, the United States, the global economy, make sure you subscribe. And if you have questions about how Taiwan defeated the outbreak, please make sure and leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.